Good morning, traders. Today is Tuesday, September 21st. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right. So what are we looking at here today? Well, yesterday, obviously, we had a massive gap down that led to a ton of selling, essentially like a trend day down all day long, right up until the last hour of the day, where we had a push back up, and we pretty much retraced like 2/3, or I would say even 3/4 of the entire day's range, getting us to close right up here back at the upper end of value, only less than $10 from our opening price. So the question this morning is going to be the acceptance of that sort of bounce, that sort of V-shaped recovery that we've begun here. Are we going to get continuation of that higher, or are we going to just rotate in this range, getting some acceptance of these lower prices, or is there more selling ahead? Okay, so the way I'm looking at it is, first off, the overnight inventory is, it was a majority net long. It was about 90% net long. We've already had quite a bit of a counter auction. We've absorbed a lot of that, pulling us back down into yesterday's range. So I do expect we'll have a small counter auction to the downside at the open. But remember, because we're opening inside the previous day's range, we expect chop. Okay, we expect the market to just grind around here for the first half an hour or so of the day while it figures out which direction it wants to move. So I'll be looking for chop early in the day here. So if the market is able to push its way above yesterday's high, which is at about 43.71, if it can get up there, so the market opens, it pushes above yesterday's high, comes back down and it finds support, that to me is a good long trade for continuation higher in an attempt to fill that gap. Okay, so the gap fill left behind from yesterday would be at 44.1625. So essentially any movement up into the gap that comes back down and finds support is probably likely to continue grinding higher, trying to get to the base of that gap, and then we look for resistance there. Okay. If we fail to, so if we push up above yesterday's high, okay, come back down and we don't find support there, and when we continue down into yesterday's range, that is a look above and fail of yesterday's range, and I would look for further downside continuation. So the first support is going to be right about where the market close was yesterday. I don't know what that is. Random empty box just pops up. Ooh, it's a ghost box. Go away. There you go. Come on, turn off reminders. Oh no, get out of here. So the first support is going to be sort of almost where the closing price yesterday was. So right about at 43.4625, which is the base of that volume of node. So if the market trades, if we open, we get our chop and we trade down to here, I'll be looking for support inside this node of volume. Okay, for continuation, again, to attempt to get above yesterday's high, come back down, find support, and then continue to fill the gap. If this fails, to me, it's a good short for continuation down to the next support, which is this node of volume around the POC, the lower end of that being about 43.2375. So if this first node fails here, market trades down, tries to find support. It can't. It continues lower. I think we're going down to that next node, looking for support there. If that breaks, we're looking to test that 100 daily moving average. If we can't find support there, that's currently sitting at about 43.12 on the Z contract. If we can't find support there, you're looking at much further downside continuation. If we do find support at any of these levels, so if we find support here, we're heading up to try to backfill that gap. Same thing here. Same thing here. But there is always door C, which is something we need to think about, which is the fact that, excess leads to balance. So this massive move down that we had yesterday could just need to balance off. So we might get a regular trading hours range that looks a bit like this overnight, where the market just kind of grinds around here and goes nowhere. Okay. So that is a possibility. And of course, if that happens, we'll wait for the cessation of one time framing and then look to trade it rotational. I don't really have a bias coming into today, whether I think it's going to be bullish or bearish. I really got to kind of just watch the market. The only sort of bullish indication that stands out to me now is this overnight, though. They explored lower prices, found support, and then spent the rest of the night pushing higher. And we already kind of got that counter auction, absorbing a lot of those longs. So we're in a good place to find support right around yesterday's high and look to fill the gap. So I have like maybe a slightly bullish tone, but really just need to wait and see what the market does. Also, it's noteworthy if we open above yesterday's high, as we are not, man, we opened right on yesterday's high. So yeah, look for some chop and then look how the market handles that chop in the first 30 minutes. Okay, so we had a very quick look above and fail of yesterday's range. Again, looking for support, essentially in between the opening and closing price of yesterday. So in between like 55 and 46. It's where the largest nodes of volume are. And time was spent. Cinny Matt, my man. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Good morning, Arcaleon. Good to see you. Trading Donkey. Good morning. I don't know why you're calling me comrade. Partha, good morning to you. Sanju, good to see you. Oh, you're calling Arcaleon comrade. I get it. Cinny Matt, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that $2. And yes, please, everyone smash that like button. If we can get those likes first thing in the morning, it brings in more viewers. So I'd really appreciate that. Good morning, Philip. Good to see you. Marco is here. Good morning to you. Marco saying be cautious of that counter auction as it can be misleading. Yeah. And he's, of course, talking about a counter auction to the downside that might trick us into thinking the market's going to sell off. But we won't be fooled. Marco, we know. We know we have chop in the morning and that the market's just doing some price discovery and it hasn't made a decision yet. Philip, I don't know how to say the name of this company. Evergrande? Grande? Missing payments yesterday. Bull trap coming. We'll see. I've seen a lot of like differing opinions on that. A lot of people think once the dust settles, it won't affect American markets. And some people think it's the end of the world. So that's why I don't trade off of fundamentals, because nobody really knows. Jose, good morning to you. Welcome. Rob Farley asking, what are my gap numbers? Well, I'm seeing the bottom of the gap being yesterday's high at 43.7125, and the top of the gap being Friday's low at 44.1625. If we do get up into the gap, there is a high probability they'll try to fill that gap. But they're still looking for support here. Okay, market internals opening bullish, but that's to be expected with the overnight inventory being net long. So we'll give them some time to settle in as well. Brian is here. Good morning. 43.05 on deck. Seeing a bit of a pullback. 43.05, that kind of final little node of volume. The last ditch hope. I'd be interested to see if we trade down to that 100 daily, how the market reacts to that today. One could make the argument that this was layered in bids below that. But at the moment, just chop. Arthur, good morning to you. Welcome. Amir is back with us. Good to see you. Pavel is here. Good morning to you. Shubaho Deep in the house. Good morning. Okay. Da. Herman, good morning to you. Blessings is back with us. Good morning. Am Gossel back with us. Good to see you. And Ronald, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for those 42 likes. I don't know if this is true. I can't promise this is true, but I've heard smashing the like button is good karma and it brings you money. That's just what I've heard. I can't verify that. We're getting chop, chop, chop. Okay, good taper on the low. Doesn't mean it's the low of the day, but if it was, it's got good taper. Am Gossel backing me up on my claim about the likes. It's very true. Very, very true. There you go. Worked for Arthur as well. All right, so once again, if we push above yesterday's high, what I'd be looking for is what happens when we pull down to it. So if we can get back above here, when we pull back down, do we start to find support around this level? If so, that is very bullish for an attempt to fill the gap. Okay, so far it's looking good. Just need to see that support. Okay, so now we're looking for the market to build some support in here. Doesn't look like we're getting it. Not yet. Okay, so in that little push up, we just got some resistance right there. So that's a slightly bearish sign. We had a look above and fail. We started to build support here around this 67 level. And then our first attempt to push back up was immediately slapped back down. So that's a little bit bearish here that we might need to head back down. Looking for support lower. Chop, chop, chop. Yes, sir. They don't know what they're going to do yet. Still trying to decide. Boom, there it is again. Same level, instant resistance. Somebody's selling in that 4370 level. Okay, so same play as before. Now that we're back above yesterday's high, can we find support there at the high? We've got these nice little nodes of volume we just set up. We had some resistance just below that now could act as support. buyers are starting to step in on the ticks. So I'm not ready to FOMO into a long here. I'd like to see the market pull back down and put in some support. Got these levels here need to be backfilled. Only 130, 150 contracts. This is just short covering and FOMO buying in here. Marco says the fact that we're back around the gap is amazing. It's still a very young day, but we might need to focus if the value could stay where it's right now, which is very bullish. Yeah, so you're saying value is overlapping, or actually value is higher than yesterday, much higher. Yeah, that's bullish. Again, though, I'm looking at the volume here, and I'm not loving how thin it is. Right, that's a sign that it's short covering, more so than new money buying. They are keeping the ticks above the zero line, so there are more buying than selling happening here. And you know how much the market loves to fill a gap, and this is a great big gap. So there's a lot of bullish signals, but it's not 100% yet. All we need is that one big pullback to squeeze out the FOMO buyers that find some support, maybe right here at halfback at like 43.73. Then I can feel much more confident that we're going to continue higher from there. Maybe right here, just backfill this level, then continue from there. Tom, good morning to you. Marco's already in a long trade. Okay, it looks like we're starting to build up support right in here. In between like 79 and 82. All right, the buyers are starting to run out, so we need to backfill these levels and then look for support in between halfback and yesterday's high. So if you're wondering, why does this happen? Why does the market, like a rocket ship, just shoot straight up and then randomly turn around and come back down like this, even if it's bullish, even if it's going to continue higher? Well, it's because a lot of those people that caused the market to push up were just covering shorts from yesterday. So they weren't adding new money, new strength to the market. They were just taking away the resistance. So you get that big push up, but then when you have those low volume nodes like we had right there, they need to be backfilled. And pulling back down to that level, it gives new buyers, people who are flat, the chance to go long. Currently, that's what's happening. So we can keep an eye on the ticks here and see, can they keep those ticks above the zero line? Which means more and more buyers keep stepping in. If so, we're looking for continuation to the upside. If not, that next chance, that next discount for buyers to come in will be right around that halfback at 43.73. Man, those internals flipped on us quick. So, of course, getting back into yesterday's range is bearish. I'll give this node right here one more chance to act as support. Remember, it was resistance before on the way up. So once you break through, often resistance becomes support. So I'll give this a chance. But if we continue below like 67, I would get bearish for a need to pull back down as a look above and fail of the previous day's range, as a need to pull back down into this node around 52. Okay. But I'll let them see if they can turn this into support. Come on, buyers. This is your chance. Get it on discount. Get it inside yesterday's range, or you're going to get slapped. Rocket, same movie for over a week. I don't know. I mean, this is like, it's pretty bullish to push above the previous day's range, pull back down below, find support, push up again, and then get a big short covering rally. Like, that's pretty healthy bullish behavior. And now the market just needs to bring in new buyers. So I would have thought it did it here, but if it's doing it in here, that's okay. So until these ticks get really nasty, I'm not losing faith just yet. Harry ES support. Well, we're at it right now. This node of volume that we're in is the first bit of support. If not, the next volume node is going to be right around the open of yesterday. So 43.52-ish through like 47-ish. This area is the next support. If that fails, then you've got the area around the POC. So say 30.25-ish down to like 22. But one step at a time. Let's see if they can hold this support first. And of course, there is always door number C, right? Rotation right around this area where the overnight rotated. Getting acceptance of these lower prices. That would not be unheard of. Just grinding around in here. Excess leads to balance, as they say. Don't like the look of these internals. They're trending down here. Back to feeling neutral. They're going to have to get back above yesterday's high for me to get bullish again. Rocket C in 50 and then 40. And then 30 and then 20 and then 10. Yeah, 50 is support. Then 40. I don't know. I feel like if 50 breaks, I don't trust the overnight low. So if this node of volume here breaks, let me zoom out. If this area can't hold, this is the next target to the downside. The battle is being fought. Those buyers are trying to break through this resistance right here at 70. Same spot as this morning. Same spot as this morning. Same spot as 20 minutes ago. Donkey's plan for today, wait till we start one time frame and then go with it. Basically using the A period high or low as a breakout. I think if it's bullish, you could get in before that. right? Getting above yesterday's range is a pretty bullish signal. So you don't have to necessarily wait for a breakout up here. You could go long in here anywhere that you feel like the market's done pulling back. It's found the support it needs. But I would certainly go short with a breakout to the downside. There you go. Ticks are continuing to trend lower. Buyers are running out. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. Buyers are starting to get squeezed. They're giving up. Boy, I'm all over the place this morning. Bullish, then neutral, now bearish. Not bearish beyond finding support, but that is a look above and fail of the previous day's range. We are now one time framing lower. We do have all three of the internals. Well, not really the breadth, but the advancers versus decliners and the ticks on both indices are trending lower. So that's all bearish market generated information. So I got to go with what I see. Core 4320. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we got some support before we get down there. Support in this area up here around the 50s. And that 20, I mean, call it like 2150-ish. That's the next level of support right in there. And if not, we'll see what happens when we get to that 100 daily. Simple moving average. Stan, thank you so much for the compliment on the video. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I put out a video on bias. Definitely worth checking out. Even if you just want to open it, watch an ad, and then click the like button. That would be greatly appreciated. But you could also watch it because it's full of good information. Vitatuous? That's awesome, man. Welcome to the Brigade. We're happy to have you. There it goes. Bye-bye buyers. They're giving up. Ramp, 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 ramp. Sanju, the video is 9 minutes long about the length for me to watch. Yeah, no, fair enough. I think I'm going to try to keep them even shorter next time because the data is showing that most people are only watching for 4 minutes, which is like disappointing because 4 minutes into it, I haven't even fully explained how the bias works, nor given the tools to fight it. The tools are like at the very end. So I feel bad for all those people. They're missing out. Can I post a link? Sure, I could do that. Tom's asking what video. I made a video just on confirmation bias. Essentially the idea of when you think you know what the market's going to do, your brain stops seeing information that goes against it. For example, this morning, like I said, I was bullish on the idea that if we got above yesterday's high, came back down and found some support, that we might continue higher. But then when I saw what was happening with the ticks, I said to myself, you're wrong, Charles. Those ticks are trending down. Went back to a neutral state. And then when we broke that low, or actually just before, I said, these buyers don't have it. And the internals are telling me they don't have it. The look above and fail of the previous range is telling me I don't have it. And what happens a lot of times is if people are bullish, they just ignore that shit. They just tell themselves, oh no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then all of a sudden you get that spike lower and they're stuck in a long trade and now they're in the hole and they're freaking out. So then their emotions kick in and they can't exit the trade because of panic. So it's really, really important as traders that we keep our mind open to whatever the market is telling us from its perspective. Stand face for radio. Fair enough, bro. I'm not going to argue with that. Rocket putting some money in his pocket. Good for you, brother. Okay, so we're now in this first little node that should act as support, or could anyways act as support here. So we'll watch what the buyers start to do. First job is get back above the zero line in the ticks and then start trending higher. If not, the trend is to the downside right now. Also, it's worth noting, once again, because we had like a really quick squeeze, we left some low volume nodes here. So the market might need to push up to backfill them and then find resistance for continuation lower. Hey, we broke 100 viewers for the first time in months. There we go. Whoop, whoop. Welcome. Just Thurta? Man, there's people with some hard names for me to say today. Just Thurta, welcome. Good to see you. Okay, so that was the attempt to backfill. So now we're looking for resistance. Just Hetera? Just Hetera. There you go. Well, either way, welcome, brother. Oh, I get it. You're saying your name is Hetera and your screen name is just Hetera. Okay, I get it. Well, from now on, you're just Hetera to me. You've been renamed. Fausto, brother. Please, please, paper trade. Just for a little bit, especially with this volatility. Yeah, but if you're going to watch, you might as well take trades. You might as well practice strategy. Just don't practice where you could lose money. And I know what it is. We've talked about this so many times. I know that the problem is if you paper trade and you make money, you feel like you're missing out. And you're like, I wish I would have made that money. But you just got to find a way to flick that switch in your mind and just be okay with winning in a paper account, to learn the skill. Well, Sanju, normally I would make an argument for that, but Fausto has done that. He's tried trading with really, really small size, and there's an emotional disconnect that happens where it's literally what I made the video about, confirmation bias. It's literally the fact that like once he gets long or short, he'll like sit in the trade and let it go against him for so long. And so I just think if he traded on paper and just watched over and over that doesn't work, or practiced getting out of a trade right away, like just put an entry, put your stop, let it fill. Put an entry, put your stop, watch it happen over and over again, and then see that statistically over time, you're right more than you're wrong. So if you let yourself take those losses, you'll end up winning more money. And I just think it would be so much easier to build that skill set with no real risk, even a small, tiny bit of risk, just none. And then step back into trading with small size. Bam, winning. So happy to hear it, brother. And if you start to win in your paper account and you start making profits, don't just immediately switch back to real money. Keep going until you've done a couple of weeks of consistent winning day in and day out. And then you trust your system and you're like, okay, the way I trade does work. Here's what was going wrong when I was trading with real money. Now I won't let that happen the next time. Man, this is starting to feel like a setup for a rotational day. We're literally just bouncing between support and resistance here. The sellers aren't really piling on that hard. So we'll see. Right now the market's still trending lower, but I think there's some support in here. And we might start some rotation. Yeah, Tom. One thing that happens with Fausto is he has like streaks where like he'll have a couple days or a couple weeks where he's just killing it and just making mad money, and then he has a bad streak. And I mean, obviously that happens to everybody because it's all psychological. Rocket, banks need more longs in before a flush. I don't know that I would call it banks, but bigger traders, sure. Yeah, Peter Wales. Some of them are at banks, some of them are at Goldman or Merrill Lynch. Some of them are at family offices that you've never heard of that have billions of dollars of capital to trade with. Some of them are at hedge funds. Some of them are sitting in their own garage. There is money all over the place trading these markets. All right, the sellers are piling on. Can the buyers hold it here? Some of them might be in your garage, not my garage. Dude, I'm trading 2 ES contracts. These people are trading like dozens at a time, just layering in massive, massive orders. Yeah, Emmanuel, that's what we talk about all the time. When I'm talking about these things, I'm not talking about just futures traders. I'm talking about the market as a whole. Everything, all the S&P 500 elements are all connected. So whether they're buying options on the SPX, whether they're buying individual stocks, they're buying options on the stocks, they're buying options on the futures contracts or the individual futures or whatever, it's all influencing one another. It's all connected. So I just consider it the market in air quotes. You're right, hundreds. Yeah, I mean, we see it all the time on PugPack's feed in the Discord, where he shows those 50 plus contracts at a time numbers. They're out there, man, every day. Buying them some futures contracts. Advancers versus decliners looking very bearish here. About to push below its zero line. So that's the underlying stocks. The stocks that make up the S&P 500, they're getting sold. $777 Athletic. Is Bitcoin going to zero? Never. Never. No, Bitcoin's not going to zero. Where's it at now? Ooh, it's tanking today. Man. Where's Bitcoin going longer term? Uh, 40,000, then like 34,000. I don't think it's going below 29. Could be wrong, but I highly doubt that. Yep, feeling like it's going to be rotational here. Downtrend still intact, though. Janoy asks, do option contracts or futures contracts or underlying buys more the index? Yeah, they're all connected. So there's arbitrage bots that connect it. So if a big player comes in and sells a bunch of the underlying stocks, an arbitrage bot will sell the futures contracts or whatever to keep everything in line. Man, I didn't even get to say it. I was about to say, leaving those single prints behind increased the odds of repairing them. But there's still one left there that needs repair. And then we'll look for resistance right there at that base. What is Bitcoin now? 42,700. Peter, there is not a vid talking about my process, but I talk about it all day, every day on the live streams. So you're welcome to join the Brigade. There's a link in the description. It just costs $10 a month. And then you can ask me all the questions in the world every day. And I'm happy to explain my thoughts. Okay, so where are we at as I leave the stream here today? What should I leave you with? Well, we are still one time framing lower, which is bearish, right? That's a trend down. So you want to monitor that to see how much longer does each 30-minute time period, does the high of it stay below the high of the previous 30-minute period? As long as it keeps doing that, it's likely to keep selling. But that being said, there does seem to be some support stepping in right here in this first node of volume from yesterday. So that node of volume, the bottom of it is basically the closing price of yesterday, 43.46. So I think if we keep pressing down into here and finding support, we're likely to go rotational at some point and kind of just grind around in this range. Pretty much exactly what the overnight did. If we step back, not quite as large of a range as the overnight did, but kind of just bounce around in here. If this node of volume, so say the closing price of yesterday, if that breaks, so that's right here. If the market pushes below that, particularly coming up and finding resistance, I would definitely target this node down here in a short from there to there. And then look for support there. All right, guys, with that, I will bid you farewell. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate those 66 likes. I'm so excited we got back above 100 viewers today. And I look forward to seeing you all here tomorrow morning. If you're a member of the Brigade, head on over, hit that link, or I will be sending out the email with the link in just a few minutes. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.